big challenges ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult season, but I think the boys are up for it again as normal. We stick with our local talent, and the training numbers are not as high as they've been in the past, but they're good hardcore players turning up.
Very difficult, obviously, to retain some of the players who want to play Premiership rugby, and of course the relegation affected that. But how badly affected was Berwick on this particular occasion?
Losing players is always a disaster for a small club like us. We don't buy anybody in. We produce our own players. They come through our youth system, and we've produced some very good players that played for Scotland and age groups, etc. I sometimes think we lack the loyalty from certain players, and if we don't get this loyalty, it puts pressure on the club.
So tell us a little bit about some of the youngsters you think are going to come through to good things in the next few years from Berwick.
Well, we've got two guys moving away, Max Lermouth, who's going to Watsonians, and Aaron Hall, who's went to the Falcons. Aaron's going to be slightly involved at the club this coming season, and that's going to be quite good. We have a young guy called Nick Law, who is a dynamo, who has come through the Colts. He'll make his debut probably in the Kelso Sevens this week. And we also have Lee Douglas, who is one of the flying wingers in our club. Our pack is quite an old pack, but it's a lot steadier, and it'll be I think we'll be all right in the forwards. And the youngsters are coming through, and we've got some youngsters in the Colts who'll probably have a bit shot as well due to the circumstances of losing players.
Tell me about the team spirit in Berwick, because there's a big challenge ahead, as I mentioned earlier.
I think the team spirit is actually, with the defection of players, I think the guys have just started to pull the sleeves up and they've said, right, we're going to prove a point. It was kind of a thing, one player was leaving, then another, and then there was a carload away. And the players actually have responded pretty well to it, and they're going to prove a point, I think, that they want to go up. We know we've went down 2 divisions in 3 years. We've lost over 2.5 teams with ages, aged players retiring and players moving on. But if you bring your own players through, you have this loyalty, and you also have the local supporters supporting the club, And I think travelling around Premier 3 last year, we got relegated by 1 point, but we were probably the best supported club in the Premier division, along with the other border clubs, Gallard and Peebles.
How important is it to the club to get back in the Premiership?
It's always a target. We have to get to that division to hold the players and give them a higher profile. We're here to produce players. Our youth system has a lot of good players coming through, and I can remember Harry Redknapp saying he had the best players in West Ham, but I can see these players coming. I just hope I'll get enough time to see them come through and develop, But it is important. It gives them a target. Realistically, Premier 1 was always something you're looking for. 10 years ago I thought it was realistic, but now with the cash situation and economics, I think it might be out of our standard, but certainly Premier 2 is well within our reach.
New laws, of course, coming in. What about them?
The new laws, actually, I've seen a game. I went down and watched the Falcons play the Western Force, and I thought it was a very much, the Western Force, of course, have had the new laws in already, and I thought it just basically gained the possession, a lot more kicking, but not just kicking for kicking's sake. I think it'll be quite interesting. I think that we'll see a little bit more kicking to gain territory and then closing them down. I think the 5-yard law from the base of the scrum is quite good, because that's going to get the back row moves back into action, as we've seen against the New Zealanders. They've kind of come a cropper a couple of times with that, but no, I think it's all good. I think the maul as well, it's going to be more dynamic. It's not going to be this slow rolling maul. Pull them down if it'll be breaking away off the side. So basically, I don't think there's that much. It's just a little bit more tweaking. I was quite concerned at the start, but I don't think it'll make that much difference. Okay.
And I must mention Langham. Of course, you've got Langham this time. That's your local derby as far as the Scottish Hydroelectric League, National League One is concerned. A team that you know quite well. Yeah,
Langham. I mean, I've always had a soft spot for Langham. Been involved and seen them, the Hislops there. The old heads there, and always like to have a little wee chin wag with them afterwards. So it'll be good to meet these old guys again. We'll get no younger, but we'll get quicker as the years go on in the pitch. Always look at a 7-year cycle, develop the players through, and I think this is the season where we put a chalk under it and we go forward. And Stephen, who has had some very good coaching sessions this year, and I think all the guys are enjoying it, which is keeping the club spirit high. So promotion is on and challenging from the start of the season with the victory at Dumfries.
Big question, of course, can you make it back into the Premiership again?
Yeah, I think we can. I think we've got, as I said maybe earlier, a very strong pack, which I think is important, and I think we have speed in the backs as well, with the likes of Lee Douglas, etc. We do have old heads. The McCreath brothers are coming back, which shows they've been great servants to the club, and you kind of put money on what they've contributed to the club. But I think I would, if I was a betting man, I would certainly put us up in the top 2 at the end of the season.
With Langham possibly?
Well, if Langham were behind us, I would be very much happy. If we go up as champions and they're runners up, I'd be delighted for Border Rugby.
So really, it is time to see Berwick back in the Premiership again?
Yeah, I think it's time. We deserve to be there. We've got a big catchment area. We're not right in the heartland of the borders, but we play good rugby. We teach our kids, I think, well. We bring the kids through. We have a good ethos, what the game's about, community club. And I think that, you know, we've got to keep on going forward, producing guys for the higher level, but also producing enough players to keep ourselves going and taking the game forward.